Hello and welcome to Euro Truck Simulator 2. In this episode, I will run 2 hours, the first 2 hours of the game, in two different modes. One of them will be showcasing how to progress only with quick jobs, and the second one, how to progress with getting your own truck as quickly as possible. General consensus seems to be that it is more efficient to get your truck as quickly as possible. But when I recently restarted the game, I had the feeling that wasn't quite true. And so I figured it might actually be quite interesting to run both parallel. I did the run without the own truck, so just with quick jobs first, which means you may notice there are instances when I'm lingering a bit longer in a certain view because I did actually narrate the videos. But you won't hear any of this live narration right now. So just as a pointer, if you see me lingering, then that is because I've explained something in more detail than I did on the second run when I purchased my own truck. With that said, let us get started. The screen will look similar to what you see here. I created a company for each purpose. On the left-hand side, the company has quick jobs only. On the right-hand side, the company will get the own truck as quickly as possible. So let's dive into it. In both cases, I chose Nuremberg as the starting location. Nuremberg is one of the better locations in this game. Better in terms of having quite a good number of industries right next to it. So here you see our two starting points. Your first job will be a quick job, and you will be placed in the truck immediately without having a choice of what you want to transport. And the route is quite short for this. And as you can see on the left-hand side, I am launching a bit later with the quick jobs because I have been explaining a bit more. But no worries, I will catch up quicker than I had intended to, I must say. When you see me looking around, I swivel with the mouse when I'm at intersections, whereas when you see me doing these fast and sharp look-arounds, as you saw on the right-hand side briefly, that is when I use the number pad of the keyboard. 7 to look left forward, 8 to look forwards, and 9 I don't use too often, but that is right-hand side forwards. What I haven't done here, but will do shortly in both instances, is enable the left-hand side virtual mirror. I am using the virtual mirrors for as long as the trucks don't have the camera mirrors, because otherwise you are flying blind unless you are constantly swiveling your head from one side to the other. The background soundtrack, that is from one of the videos. So sometimes you might notice that the roaring of the engine is not completely in sync with both of them, naturally. On the right hand side we have arrived, and you could see that I chose manual parking of the most difficult option. I would recommend this to anybody who is playing this game, because the experience points that you get for this, they are actually quite substantial. With this first mission, it's insane. The experience you gain versus the mission experience, but that obviously is not the norm. In normal cases, you will get even later in the game roughly 10 to 15% in many cases by manually parking with the most difficult option. So the parking on the right hand side, that is going to be almost grotesque. It would appear that the 3-axle trailer actually turns very differently to a 2-axle one. So it's going to take me an age and a half, and I almost decomposed in the process of trying to get this done, but I did eventually. This is how I managed to catch up with the left-hand side. Yes, absolutely not my best moment, parking on the right-hand side. Part of the experience. As for my gaming experience with this game, I have around 150 hours in this game, but I've owned it for many years, so I am not a very frequent player. And I just decided to pick it up again when I managed to score some DLCs in the summer sale for relatively little money. I get there eventually. Clearly this parking somewhat hampered the end result as well, because I spent, I don't know, 3-4 minutes or so doing this, which are 3-4 minutes that we may have gotten some use out of at the end. So, and on the left hand side you just saw and still see, I inserted now the finished contract on the bottom, that in this case we got a lot more experience for parking than we did for the actual mission. On the top we saw our garage, and what I'm showing there is that basically you've got nothing, not even a credit line with a bank. So next quick job it is. Important there to look at is for money to get the rate per mile. The higher the rate per mile is, the more money you get for your time. This does not necessarily and not always translate also in more experience, right? Experience is calculated over kilometer driven. And we still haven't finished parking. That's why quick jobs are called quick jobs. Or not. finally succeeded. Yay! So here as well you see we got more experience for parking than for the actual mission, and clearly the parking was more difficult as well, which is why the parking experience is also significantly higher. Our garage and our preliminary truck design, and as we do not have a credit line with the bank so far, we cannot actually purchase a truck right after the first mission. So here as well, we need to take another quick job. As you will notice, may already have noticed, I tend to take a slow start to each mission and then I time-lapse it at a degree that hopefully won't make anybody nauseous, but just to cut down on the overall video length without cutting out actual footage. On the right hand side I just cut off a police vehicle, but they didn't seem to mind, luckily. That's what I thought, but they will get their own back later on, unfortunately. Seeing this go at this speed makes me sometimes wish that I could drive that fast. Driving on the motorway is obviously not the most exciting thing. On the right hand side screen you see the off-ramp. This is something to be careful about because remember you are pulling a heavy trailer, and if you're going too fast into these off-ramps, the trailer will just push you straight into the barriers. On the left side you see I've opened the map. You do this with the M key on the keyboard. The map is actually a very nice pause function if you want to step out for a moment and take a break, but it's also very useful, which is what I pointed out there, to determine where not only petrol stations are but also resting points. Now in the early stages of the game this doesn't really matter because you're never going to get there, But the moment you get your own truck, you will actually have to abide by shifts. You can only drive for so long and then you need to sleep. This is one of the advantages of quick jobs only. There are no shifts unless you have got long distance trips, which actually fill up your sleep meter, but otherwise you can just daisy chain one quick job to the next. The moment we get our own truck, and we will see this coming up, we will need to sleep at some point, and that of course doesn't cost much in playtime, but it makes the progress of in-game days, of course, longer, because well, you're losing 10-11 hours each time. So it looks like our quick job is nearing its destination. You saw me in the top left running a yellow light. If you're fast enough, you'll be fine. But if you're slightly late on it, it gets expensive very quickly. I think it's 260 euros that they charge for a red light infringement. You see that there are only two options for parking with the current job in the top left. That is because we are pulling articulated trailers, and these are always straightforward parked, not reverse parked. Mind you, you saw me there even messing this one almost up. But yeah, reverse parking articulated trailers, something that is a bit challenging. And here you see the mission experience is actually significantly higher now. It gives us a new level, and I tend to choose this one there, Dangerous Goods, as the first character upgrade, and then I go into long distance. Reason for it is, if you go into long distance immediately, you will get slightly longer trips, but it won't actually benefit you as much, whereas with the Dangerous Goods you can immediately benefit even on short trips and then go from there. You saw me choosing the middle one, and that is because that middle one seems to be the most frequently appearing. What you see in the top left now is that I'm pointing through the available used trucks, and you saw that we now have got a credit line for from the bank. But as that session there is a quick jobs session only, we won't purchase. And on the top right, you saw that we need to park the trailer inside this hall, and that actually turns out to work better than I anticipated. I thought this might end up being a real pain in the backside, but it went all right and relatively swift. There you go. We are almost caught up with the left side. And same here, level 2, and first the dangerous goods. And as we now have got a credit line with the bank, we're going to grab 100 grand and get ourselves a used truck. There are a bunch available, and for me the important parts are two. One is reasonably low mileage, and the other one is as high horsepower or torque as possible, because that means you can carry, I was going to say, you can tow heavier loads. So the truck that I'm purchasing there has 2100 Newton meters of torque, and that allows us to reasonably comfortably tow 23 tons. So the truck obviously will be delivered to your garage. If you've got more than one, you can decide where you want it delivered to. But in this case, we only got one. And then we go into the freight market. Now, I made a mistake there. I picked a job that required fast travel without looking at the expiry time of that job. And by the time I was getting anywhere near there, the job was no longer available. And if I had noticed this earlier, I could have actually taken the job straight from Nuremberg, which was the second most lucrative. So my mistake on that side. Reminder to you guys, always look at how long you have to start a job, because you always have to travel there unless you just delivered something to that very garage, very industry that you're picking up your next job from. So I lost time and money on this one, and that of course will cost us in the end and the overall as well. Oh, these intersections, top right, that's the ones I really don't like, because you can't really see much whether somebody is coming, and you need to stop or don't. And of course, the acceleration of these trucks is not exactly fantastic, so you don't really want to stop, which means, yeah, if you're unlucky, you may scratch the paint. What you saw here in the top right was that I nudged into the intersection because the left-hand side lanes, they were clear. And the moment I did this, everybody on the right-hand side also stopped, which means be courageous, do it carefully, but be courageous. The moment you've got the left lanes clear, go slowly onto it. It will stop the right-hand side traffic as well. so that you can then cross these sometimes very busy and awkward intersections. So another articulated. Oh, yeah, on the left-hand side, I also made a mistake. I took the wrong turn. So we basically had to drive through the entire shape of the clover in order to get back to where we turned off falsely. So it was a bit of a scenic route there. And this is where we turned right and we had to go straight. You see me on the motorway usually, sometimes also in town. Use cruise control, you press C on the keyboard for it. And I tend to set it to 1 kilometer higher than allowed. Meaning if it's 80, I set it to 81. Because if you go downhill, steep downhill, your car can gain up to 5 additional kilometers an hour, which brings you then to 86. And I believe that is still within the limits of not getting fined. Whereas if you have set your normal cruising speed to 85 or so, like this truck that just passed us on top right, then you will suddenly end up with 90 kilometers an hour. The steering movements that you see, the twitching of the steering wheel, this is because I am playing this with a keyboard, so it's not an analog steering wheel, but rather ride by wire, so to speak, with a keyboard. And that means you've got shorter impulses and it isn't quite as smooth. So our quick job has just arrived, and because articulated trailer, again straight parking. This view here, press 2 on the keyboard, gives you this bird's eye view, and you can swivel around with your mouse to get the various angles. have tried driving over longer distances as well with this bird's eye view. Didn't quite work very well for me. In some sections it's good because obviously you've got a broader field of vision, but staying straight in the lane seems to be a lot more twitchy. So, next quick job. Quick jobs, by the way, are also a good way of trying out different trucks. Obviously here I'm mostly looking at the highest kilometer rate, but you could also have a look at different trucks and see how they compare. To me, the engine also is only important in the beginning, because later on, as you level up, you get much stronger engines anyway, and can put them into just about any truck. So the important part for me is the dashboard, the interior of the truck, and these vary significantly, as you would imagine, with all the different makes. So if you are new to the game and uncertain, I would say just go through all the various trucks and try out what you see. Now, having said that, you will obviously also, as you level up your character, get access to newer versions of the dashes, which sometimes make a significant change from the old ones. Sometimes they don't. So, on the top left side, we had the choice between an articulated trailer setup again, or a dangerous liquids transport, and I chose the dangerous liquids because the monetary return wasn't really that different, but I believe the distance was greater for the liquids, and hence there was more experience in it at almost the same kilometer rate. So on the right hand side we've almost arrived as well. When I edited these videos, I noticed that just about all of these trips took roughly 20 minutes to drive. And you see on the left hand side there, seemingly the nose was poking slightly into the road, so the car stopped for me to exit the intersection. Fantastic, thank you very much. So right hand side, straight parking as well. You see me there in a white truck. There are a good number of different liveries that you can choose, but all of them cost money, and they start, I believe, at 11,000 euros for a different paint job, and that's quite some money if you consider that a used truck anyway costs you roughly 100,000. A garage upgrade or a new subsidiary costs you 180,000. So it's 10% of a truck, and about 6% of a new subsidiary. So at this early stage of the game, I tend to abstain from it. This was a close call in the top left. I didn't really want to stop, and at first glance I didn't see the car, but then I managed to brake just in time. So what are we gonna do there? We are going to pick up a new job somewhere else. Actually, do we or don't we? Yeah, okay, so for this one we were actually going to pick up the job right there. And I didn't notice it. I was confused for a moment there why I didn't have anything on the GPS. And it's that tank trailer there. All right. Initially I thought about running this comparison for the first hour only. And then I did the math and figured that the driving time was just way too long. And we wouldn't really get any results at all after 1 hour, which is why I extended the duration to the first 2 hours. Yeah, I still need to practice driving these turns in the cities. I am way too conservative because I want to avoid that I clip a traffic light or so on the inside. Okay, so on the left hand side we go to Strasbourg, France. There are some really nice roads in this game. Some of them obviously in the mountains, but I've been driving to Scotland in a new game that I started after purchasing the French DLC. So the game, or the aim there was to build a company only with French vehicles, so Renault only. And I took a trip to Scotland, to Edinburgh, and there are some really nice roads up there. Very, very pretty. The motorway obviously is relatively same old for most part. Yes, it varies between countries, but overall it's coasting. We've discovered Strasbourg. As far as I'm aware, there are actually mods that integrate your webcam in order to record your head movements so that your vision in the game changes with your head movements while you're sitting in front of your computer. So when you look left, it will actually look out the left side window. If you look right, it will move to the right. I haven't tried it, but it sounds pretty wicked. On the right hand side, we see it started raining. The windscreen wipers key is the P key. Press it once and it goes slow. You press it twice, whoopsie daisy, and you see there we were a bit too fast on the on ramp. You press it twice and it goes faster, and you press it a third time, it goes even faster. And press P for a fourth time and you will turn your windscreen wipers off again. Reverse parking again. Oh yeah, the mission on the right hand side is an interesting destination. I don't recall ever having been there. Remember that the parking is also time-lapsed, so I haven't actually been rushing into these park bays at that speed. So on the right hand side we are now entering an open cast quarry. So on the left hand side you see that we gained another level, and so we have now put points into long distance, which should have some destinations 350 kilometers or more on the list. I'm pointing out the two large freight trailer jobs there. I've done a few of them in the past. I never really liked them because it's very fiddly. Very challenging though, because either your load is very, very long or very wide, and both of them have their challenges, particularly in the on and off ramps sections of the motorways. the interesting part of those jobs is that you then have to cooperate with other vehicles, your lead and follow vehicles that basically keep the road clear for you, so that you won't be impeded in your movement. So we've come almost to the end of the quarry, and you see there is the parking spot. I'm currently wondering how to get there. I believe I may have even had a chance to go under this conveyor. At least when I get closer to it, it looked like it, but I was playing it safe and took the outside route. Again, press 2 on the keyboard in order to get the outside view. Yeah, the difficult part of getting this view is you're always inclined to use the wrong arrow keys in order to, well, arrow keys, WS, directional keys to turn your truck, and then you easily jackknife. But that went well. Now with this tour there with my own truck, I have a bit of a dilemma because I didn't find any place for sleeping, so I desperately need to sleep, otherwise I would incur a fine. And so I decide, instead of taking a new job, I return to home base. And I was actually hoping I would end up right in front of my home base, which I did not. And so I hoped I could rest here, which I could not, and had to drive to my own home base there. Left click is how to set a marker, a waypoint, and the first time around I accidentally just did a right click, which of course did absolutely nothing. Here I was quite afraid that I might run out of time and have to pay a fine. I think it's about 130 or 160 euros per resting time infringement, but I didn't quite want to incur that. I believe at this point in time I had already incurred a speeding ticket, which was really a stupid one, because I accelerated slightly too fast without noticing it. So, home garage, engine off, and sleeping. So, next morning, next job. From Nuremberg. And you can tell I am rushing it a bit because I am well aware that I'm behind. You see above the navigational map in both screens, on the right hand side, the amount of money that I currently possess, and on the right hand side that is not a true representation of what we earned, because I took out 100 grand from the bank, but the truck only cost us 94,000 or so, or 95. So there is actually more money being displayed there than we accumulated through freight jobs. Pick up that trailer. There it is. Right. So on the left-hand side, you see there is a problem with a road closure, and I had to take a detour. You can drive through most of these road closures. Most of them, I say, um, because in some cases it just doesn't work. So if you don't want to bother with it, then by all means drive through them. And I believe I'm doing this at a later stage because the detour would have basically doubled my time to destination. I suppose these accidents that they put in there every now and again are a sporadic means to simulate traffic jams because, well, there are none in this game. You're never really stuck for an hour just sitting somewhere. On the right hand side, you saw briefly that I sped up to 90 kilometers an hour, which of course is not very popular in Germany. You can do 90 kilometers an hour in France, in I think Belgium. You can do it in Slovakia, but not in Czech Republic. So there are a number of countries where you can drive 90 kilometers an hour, but the majority is 80. You see where the speed is highlighted red above the navigational map. If you move to the right there, on the right hand side you see that yellow envelope, which is obviously a symbol for mail, and it means there is new mail in my mailbox. And left of that envelope you see a bed, and this is where you track your sleep requirements. It will fill up slowly in blue color, which you see actually on the left hand side screen. That bed is almost full in blue color, and once it's fully blue it will turn red, and that is when you really need to look at finding a resting place. You can't just stop next to the street, which means you need to plan this well ahead, or you end up like I did in that quarry, that I would have had probably to drive another hour or so to get a resting place, which then would have ended up being very expensive, because once you get the first fine, the time difference to the next fine is relatively short. So our quick job has arrived. Good try, not good enough. figuring out which direction should I go. Ouch, kissed the fence. And there we go. Arrived. Oh, so yeah, here you see that the road is closed and I'm just barging through. Because if I had taken the detour, it would have taken me twice as long to get to where I needed to go. And if you play casually, then that's all nice and dandy. But since I want to have a comparison between the two, it would have completely messed up the results. It's one long loading screen on the left-hand side. There we go. Yeah, here I haven't actually tried going straight through. It looks like there is a street, but the GPS obviously doesn't show it. So I was too concerned I might end up in front of a fence, so I didn't go in there. But potentially it may actually have been possible. We're just crossing the River Rhine. No, it's Main. I believe that's Frankfurt where we are. Frankfurt, there are two of them in Germany. One which you saw as Frankfurt AM am Main, which means at the River Main, which is way out west in Germany, close to the Belgian and French borders. Whereas Frankfurt an der Oder, ADO, is way east, near the Polish border. This one has arrived too. Wait, I can move it there. There we go for that. And I believe I chose this one straight away because of time constraint that I felt like if I wanted to get any job still done, I would need to get it done ASAP. And if I remember correctly, that was with like 10 minutes to go. Yeah, that took a reminder to myself again that of course it won't show it here anymore because I already accepted it and I just need to look for the flags on the premises. So when I tried to take another job anywhere, it told me that I already have a job. And you see the little green flag there actually, briefly. And now it tells me I already have a delivery. So I wasted half a minute or so. And I could have just picked up this orange trailer there. I like the animation. Very cute. So, off we go. And you see now that the bed on the right hand side is to about 2/3 blue, which means during this trip already I need to consider planning for a stayover. Yeah, if you drive too close to a traffic light, you have to look out the right side. Or wait for other traffic participants, or take the exterior view, which I've done already at one point that I was so far into the intersection that I actually had to press 2 get the exterior view, and then wait for the lights to change. So on the left hand side we've got under 60 kilometers to go. Beautiful sunrise, wow. So we've got 14 kilometers on the left and 164 on the right. Open sesame. And there you go. That job is also done. And we are getting to level 3. And with that, we add another point to our long distance in order to get longer trips. Now, at this point, I stop. The right-hand side obviously still needed some time to finish the trip. The left-hand side, the quick jobs, I basically finished 5 minutes ahead of time, so that's a bonus for the next round. And here you see a comparison of what we did. So we drove significantly farther with the quick jobs simply because, well, we didn't need to sleep or anything. And we got one more job done as well by comparison. So looking at that, after 2 hours, no matter the 4 minutes that I used parking early on, the advantage is clearly on the side of the quick jobs for the first 2 hours. We did 6 jobs versus 5. Even if I gave another 4 minutes that we wasted with our first parking attempt to the own truck side, it wouldn't have finished that job. Right. And that to me means don't rush into getting your own truck. I will continue. If you like this format, I'd be happy to run another 2 hours just to see at which point we've got the break-even point, and when it actually turns in favor of having our own truck. I would assume it will take another hour before we get there, but yeah, it'd be interesting. So what you see here is the garage view. On the left-hand side, this is not a true view because I actually had to purchase a truck in order to get that view. So the money in the bank amount is wrong, but it's just so we get the same view of profit for last 7 days, which is 30,000 there versus 25,000 on the own truck side, right? So there is a significant difference. And with that, thanks for joining. Leave a like, let me know what you want to see, and looking forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye-bye.